Greetings and welcome to another episode of Bermuda's Feel Good Early Morning Show. Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pito's and Ayana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert, and we want to thank you for getting up bright and early with us on this Wednesday morning. Jackie, midweek is hump day. How are you feeling?
Good. I had to do my little break dance just to.
So you've been practicing your Chris Brown moves. Don't think we forgot we was talking to Monksy and you was trying to do your move.
It's getting better. I do it every so often. It'll be random. I'm like, washing dishes.
I made that you look to see if anyone else is looking.
Just in case people walk up. I tell them I'm like, singing karaoke, I'm like, hold on.
You don't want to get Mr. Photogenic, don't you?
I don't need somebody walking up videotaping me, busting moves and singing to myself, recording me. Oh, that'll be embarrassing.
All we need is a good Sean Simmons voiceover and it'll be lit.
Listen. How are you today, Boo?
I am good. Slightly tired. My throat is bothering me because this weather just Mother Nature and winter and spring need to sort it out, which I think is proper for today's conversation, right? So later on we're talking about stable versus toxic relationships. And I feel like right now we're in a very toxic relationship with the weather because the morning and the evenings are damp. The day is like somewhat sunny, but depending on Mother Nature's mood, it is also still damp. So it's taking a toll on me.
Saturday alone was crazy. So Friday was nice weather. Then Saturday was just like eater, teeter totter.
Then Sunday
was a whole hurricane.
And I was in that hurricane. So yes.
Oh, what with the babies?
Huh? But no, we didn't have the kids on Sunday. No, I had they're not babies, they're men. But we were down St. George's for the game. So
yeah.
Yeah, no, we didn't. So our PBs actually, their game got canceled a couple weeks ago because it was pouring. And yes, they're on the 7th, so we wasn't having those little babies out there. But the I want to say U9 had their tournament last Saturday going, and they were out there in that weather. And I feel for the parents because, like, kids want to play, but that type of weather creates unwellness in the body because you're playing hard and the weather's not great. So
that's one thing I like about my sport. We do not play in the rain.
Yes, Jackie has canceled many of our training sessions. Nope, the courts are wet. We can't play today.
I just don't do the whole. My thing is, when I was younger, I used to play in the rain, playing tennis, but I played barefoot and stuff like that. When you get older, like stuff breaks easier. So, I don't recover from a rolled ankle, and just standing in the rain isn't as fun as it used to be. I do. Like if it's a party and your body temperature is up and stuff like that. So maybe if I played football and like sliding on the grass doesn't hurt. Sliding and falling on the tennis court is like I might as well just go deck on my bike and get root rash. It's the equivalent.
Well, I think any field where people would disagree with you on that is BAA's field because it's turf and you get.
Do they play any? Yeah, they do kind of.
It depends. It floods and
it floods easily.
Right. That's definitely not Jackie and I's trend report today, but we definitely wanted to let you guys know how we're feeling this morning. So let us know in the comments how you feeling this morning. Are you up and ready to start your day with us? I see we have Sean Smith back in the audience. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, for our trend report, Jackie, I don't know if the audience is very aware or know what's going on, but I happen to be done. What's it called? I was driving through Devonshire over the weekend. And I'd seen some people talking on social media about this drive-through restaurant that's coming. Sure. So I want to talk about that because I want to ask people, do you think we need a drive-through in Bermuda? So like, is it something that you think we actually need? Because the location where it's at, it's an interesting location. And I was talking to a friend of mine when we were driving across it, like which one's the entrance or the exit? Because depending on which one it is, it could possibly cause some really interesting traffic situations. So do you know where it is or where it's going to be?
Okay. Yeah, it's right around the corner from Summersfield. I'm trying to remember what convenience store was there because I do remember popping in there one time. And it was like a cute little convenience store.
It was definitely a convenience store for the longest. I even remember because I used to go.
Belvin's, right? It was similar to a Belvin's?
Yeah, it was honestly, I don't know the name of it, but basically it was a Belvin's. Like, yes, it was like one of those convenience stores. And I remember it well because I used to frequent that area often. And I don't know, how do you feel about a drive-through there? Like, it's definitely an American idea. I think there's one down South Side. I think Pizza Hut has a drive-through where you can just order your food and drive through and pick it up.
Yeah. I go back and forth because I'm like, oh yes, convenience. But then I think about like how fast food isn't actually fast food in Bermuda.
Mm,
I think if it's already prepared, like I think I might hold this for
take
my
it back.
like I said, I think it's me personally because I'm a foodie. I think it's a great idea, and I would love if other restaurants like their takeout area was more of a drive-through. Like I think Portofino could do a drive up.
Drive up. I would say, yeah, definitely drive up.
But most people park on that sidewalk, not only sidewalk, but right up on that sidewalk to go inside and pick up their food. Anyway, so if I can pull up, skirt, and be like, hi, I'm order 192, and they run up, and I just push a button and say, I'm order 192, and they run out, give me my food, and I drive off. Yes. I want in and out. I want to be fast. I just want to pick up. Like, I hate going to get my takeout, and I'm still going to
You still gotta wait.
sit and wait. So I hope it's efficient. I hope it works, and I hope it's functional. Not because it's like right on the roadside, and like you said, it could clog up traffic. So I think if
See, my thought is if the entrance is the first, so if you're coming from town and getting towards east, if the entrance is that first entrance, like that first turn in, I think that makes sense because the second entrance or the second gate, excuse me, is a little further down. And if you can see traffic better from the second side, the one that's closest to the east, than the one that's closest to the west. And because I know coming out of that one closest to the west is basically a blind corner. Like you basically have to inch your way out. And half the time people's noses are all the way out in the road. So you have to let them out at that point. But Bermudians do love a little bit speed. And sometimes people come stinging around them corners. And
I think they've gotten better because every time I go in, I go Noah's Ark a lot. Like,
okay.
It's almost embarrassing. And I was there yesterday.
That's just ours. Not embarrassing. That's your new grocery store.
No, I go there just to see if they have anything new for her to try. And I'm like, oh, what's this? And I take it home and I see if she like
parenting. It's beautiful.
Spoiled. Anywho, went there yesterday and I got to the entrance and I feel like people know that it's a frequently visited space. So like in that area down by Noah's Ark, there's a lot of different businesses and there's constantly trucks coming in and out, cars coming in and out, obviously vehicles coming in and out. They have their own basically lane of traffic. And I got to the entrance and somebody was slowing down to let me out immediately. So I was just like, oh, y'all know this is the popping spot. So I feel like, so when I was coming across, I saw the little black like semi station where I guess they're gonna put the screen for the menu. So I was like that has to be the entrance because you're gonna drive, you want to know what you're getting, and then drive around to the two windows and come back out.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, and that has more space anyway, so you could have people like waiting in line per se.
But that entrance can also work as somebody that does want to go inside and pick up the order versus do the drive-through, kind of like how you do a wait at McDonald's and Wendy's. If you see the lines ridiculous, you'd be like, park inside.
And that's why I was saying that's why that side,
the extra parking on that side, like
that side definitely makes sense because it's bigger, and I feel they don't have any bays marked out, but I have a feeling that that's what they're gonna do, only because that's the way drive-through restaurants are. To be honest, like you said, for convenience, I think it makes sense. I would just be cautious on the traffic element because I'm also interested to see how long it is going to last.
I think it's going to last a while. I think what they should also do is include delivery and Sargasso, so they can have their own delivery, but they can also have Sargasso. Does that make sense?
It does, but I think for them, they'll probably have to do one or the other, primarily because the cost of one is going to be higher than the other, just generally speaking. So they're probably going to have to decide, does it make more sense to have our own employees, or are we going to outsource using Sargasso? Because having both is just going to be too expensive for basically the same thing.
True.
But I feel like a delivery element still makes sense for whatever the restaurant's going to be, because not everyone wants to drive up. If it's pouring rain like Sunday was, people are gonna
I'm
request
not
that
gonna
other
be like,
people deal with
let's
that.
go for a drive and get some food. I'm gonna be like, either there's food in the fridge or I'm starving because I'm not getting. And I feel bad asking for delivery because whenever I order like delivery, the person I have to go out to the entrance because they can't find my gate. And the person's always on a bike and I'm like, this is pointless.
Because you could have done it.
Yeah, I could have gone in my car and then he could, but then of course the person's making money, so I give a good tip.
Well, that's good. So I definitely feel like this drive-through will be a success. Really interested to see when it's going to come to fruition and see how many people actually enjoy going there. Hopefully they have some plant-based options. Otherwise, you won't see me there.
I'm sure they'll have like a yummy veggie burger or something.
Oh, I'm going to talk about that another day. We'll come back to that particular topic because Jackie and I could talk about food all morning, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're going to take a quick commercial break and then we'll be back with our feel good topic of the day. We are talking about toxicity and stability in relationships, so make sure you stick around for that. Jackie and I will be right back after this commercial break.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio, home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
Welcome back to Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. And if you're just joining us, please take a minute to share this episode wherever you are watching. Those of you on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. If you're watching over there on Facebook, make sure you react to this episode. And all of our cheaps on Twitter, make sure you run up this heart because right now Jackie and I are getting ready for our feel good topic of the day. Now Jackie and I are going to unpack this video that we saw on Instagram, and it was like a podcast episode, and there were, I want to say, two guys that were discussing the differences in Ciara's relationships with her current husband Russell Wilson and her former relationship with the father of her son Future. And they were basically saying, in a nutshell, Russell Wilson is a square and Future is, I don't know what other shape Future could be that's better than a square, but they're basically saying that she went from a really, I don't understand what the guy was trying to say, to be honest, when he's like,
I think they're trying to call Russell corny by what I was listening to. Like I listened to it a few times, and I'm just like, are you really sitting here trying to call Russell Wilson corny? Your boy, I don't know. I like him. Maybe I just like corny all the way around. Sorry, I have an eyelash in my eye. Ironically, right? Supposed to protect anything from doing that. Anyway, I just don't know how you could call Russell Wilson corny. Like, your boy provides. He is an athlete. He has a personality. He is respectful. Like, I know we all go through, I feel like Future is the phase and Russell is the forever. Like, when you grow up, like your mom's just like, or your parents like, stay away from those rough boys, those boys that, treat you like crap or whatever. And we always say, oh, we could change them. You don't know him like I do. He's sweet. And then he has a baby and you're just like, should have listened to my mama. Mama knows best. I felt like us in Rapunzel. Mother knows best. I've seen it way too many times. But,
clearly.
I just don't see what I understand their argument, but it's only because it's I've heard that so often in different scenarios, not always the Russell and the Future. And guys like to brag on Future. Like he's got he has children from multiple women.
Mm-hmm.
And he's always in court to have to pay child support. Like, I just don't see how you could worship somebody that you have to take to court to take care of the children.
And one thing I will say when they were talking about, so for those of you that haven't seen the video, don't worry, we'll go ahead and reshare it on our Instagram. So we'll give you the context of the video. Like I said, there was this podcast, they were talking about Ciara's relationships with Russell Simmons and Future. And they were basically also trying to say that Sierra has a type. So I wanted to talk about, like, you know, do you think people have a type in relationships? Like, they were trying to defend her relationship with Future, and that she settled for Russell in comparison to Future, and trying to decipher what type of person someone is interested in was really interesting based on their conversation. Because I'm like, first of all, people evolve, and then second of all, maybe the relationship she had with Future was a genuine, true relationship in her mind's eye, and he maybe wasn't toxic in the relationship. His outward appearance may be toxic, but in the relationship, he could have genuinely been a nice person, and it just could have been to the left.
Like every girl trying to justify why she's dating a bad boy. But mama, daddy, you don't understand. He's nice behind closed doors. He treats me right. He buys me all the nice things. Materialistically, he is on point. But emotionally, he is unavailable.
But see, we don't know that. Like, I honestly don't know, because she's never said he was not emotionally intelligent in the relationship.
No, I don't see him being a lyricist and not being somewhat.
I mean, to me, his lyrics are trash, but that's another story.
Oh. Sorry, lyricist. He's an artist. He is an artist. I can't remember his. All I want for my birthday is
a big booty. No, that's not him. That's 2 Chainz.
They
all sound alike. Yes, rappers from Atlanta do sound alike.
What is his? I don't know. I don't think I know any Future songs.
Point proven. So I want to come to this comment from Sean Smith. He asks us, what is the fascination with women and bad boys? It's interesting because Sierra's dating relationship in the celebrity space has been really interesting, right? Because she dated Bow Wow back in the day, like way back in the day.
Where she made music with him. So what happens is they spend a lot of time with him. Okay, good.
Right, but so that relationship was a little cute. He was short, she was tall. All right, that was that. I don't think she dated anyone.
Just gonna throw that in there.
I mean, I love Bow Wow, but it's his word now. But I don't remember seeing her dating anyone between Bow Wow and Future. So when the Future situation came up, it was definitely like, what is this?
Wait, nah. I was gonna say, didn't she? But no, I can't remember.
I don't remember her dating
her big. I can't remember who she would have dated between, because I just remember her doing her. She did 2 music videos with Future in it, right?
Mm-hmm. And that's when the relationship kind of came to the forefront.
Oh, I thought that was where it ended.
I thought she had Body Party, which was like the beginning of the relationship, and then there was another music video they did together. I want to say,
like, whoever these artists work with, that's who they fall for, because you have to spend so much time with these people. You get to know them a little bit better, and it's just like.
See, exactly. You get to know him a little better, but I want to come to this comment from Sean Smith, because he says the word you're looking for, Jackie, is a BSer. We're talking about Future.
Yeah, basically. So you know what I think? Because sometimes I sit down and I think about the whole fascination between women and bad boys. We from young are given Barbie dolls and we're like, take care of them. So we're changed to be nurturers and healers and fixers, right? And then we see a bad boy and you see, what do you see? You see potential, because I'm speaking from experience, just to let you know. And you're just like, yes, because I've dated some, as Bermuda, I don't know, gangsters. I've dated some people, and you spend time with them. They're in your class. They're in whatever your homeroom, and you talk to them, and you realize, oh wait, you're not just always ready to fight. Like, there's something behind it, and you learn, and you give them your number, and you spend hours talking to them. You're like, oh my gosh, you're actually brilliant as well, but you're just caught up. So then you become that person that tries to get them to see a better world. Like this, but I did have like all my friends. So I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily. I no longer think it's a fascination. I just think it's a natural instinct.
You know that there's better out there than being this way, so we naturally try to fix you, and we think that we're the ones, because you're dating us, that can change you and show the world how beautiful your soul is, and then you don't want to. So it's a fight of do better but versus staying the way you are, evolution versus staying stagnant. And then we'll be like, you know what? Do you want to stay like that? You stay like that. I'm not. Goodbye.
So I think that kind of answers this question, because I was going to ask, why do you think people experience toxicity in the relationship? And what I found interesting in that conversation with the guys was like, there was one guy that was like definitely Team Russ, and then there was the guy that was Team Future. And what I found interesting was like, to celebrate Future's the way like Future acts towards Ciara post their relationship kind of further portrays this narrative that toxicity is okay in relationships. Like, it's okay for someone to be that toxic because they get celebrated or they get talked about more often, or we say that their relationship type is okay, that's normal, that's just how he is. And I found the guy that was like celebrating Future was really trying to downplay the role Russell has played in Ciara's life in helping her have a holistic relationship. Like, bro, Future was not Ciara's guy, even though she thought he was back in the day.
She finally, I don't know, like we said, we don't know who she dated between Bow Wow when she was 10
Okay.
versus Future when she was like, what would be 27?
She's in her 20s, yeah.
And then now in our 30s, she's with Russell. Russell has taken care of Future and Ciara's son the way that he would if it was his child. Like, he took that child on as his own. So I don't understand why people always keep coming for him and not Future, because you're allowing
that's the thing too.
Another man, as a grown man that has the finances that everybody keeps saying that he's got money. I don't know how you can have 18 children and still have money, because children are like $1 million a child. I'm lying.
I don't know if you're lying, but that's just so hilarious to me, because it means if he has 18, he's got to pay $18 million a year.
I feel like he has like 18. I could be wrong. He's trying for more, I'm sure. And I just don't understand how you can call somebody that is doing everything that they need in life to provide and allow, like, they work so well together. Because I don't want to just keep saying Russell's this to Ciara, but she is his biggest supporter and he is her biggest supporter. Like, they're each other's biggest fans, and that's what you need in a relationship. I don't want to be one of your groupies, and I felt like that's where it was starting to go with Future. Like, Ciara was starting to fall off and not produce, and we know she loves to sing, we know she loves to dance, and she wasn't really doing that because she was too busy doing just the mother and father role. Because I never saw Future with his son. I think what's interesting, I never saw him with his son, and I used to follow on Instagram just to see if I'm wrong, but I never saw him with his son.
One thing that's interesting is, like, I think that I can't say like how Future saw the female male dynamic relationships growing up, because I feel like that plays a role into like how we are in relationships and whether we're toxic or stable. Because I feel like this doesn't feel like the first time he would have done that, first of all. And then the second part is I wonder if anyone has ever checked him on the fact that, okay, sir, this is just too much. Like, you are a toxic person. Like, the things that you're doing are very toxic to yourself. Like, okay, let's just remove the women from the equation. Like, a lot of what he's doing is actually hurting and being detrimental to himself, because when your son sees the way that you have acted towards their mothers, sons and daughters, when they see the way you've acted towards their mothers, they are going to have a different opinion of you. And then that changes their dynamic in relationships growing up as well, which I don't think people take that into consideration when they're toxic in relationships. I just feel like they're selfish, but I just feel like that part is like really missing for when we talk about toxicity in relationships. I feel like no one's being held accountable. The toxic people, that is.
I feel like the world has held him accountable if he has social media and looks at that, because people have come for him, and I don't know if they actually tweet him, but I know that he is, how they do the latest topics. He has made that number one topic. And if he has social media, or somebody in his crew has social media and goes and sees that, you've got, like, how y'all around somebody and you're not being like, yo, bruh, what you're doing is wrong.
This is dumb, yeah.
Like, if you can't be held accountable, you can't be my friend, because I hold myself accountable and you. Like, if somebody says, "Oh, I was wrong," I'll be like, you know what? You're right.
And that's the thing. I really
That's
wonder,
right.
like, who his circle is. Like, are they a bunch of yes men or yes women? Because there's absolutely no way.
The same way that group of men was having a discussion and said that Ciara was a gold digger, all the people that are around Future are pick-me's and gold diggers. Because there's no way I can sit around and watch you do the bare minimum for your children and me be a brethren.
Mhm.
Like, it doesn't work that way. Like, all I ask, I'll be like, so where are your children? And my thing is, you may think I'm like, I ask, I'm being genuine, but at the same time, I'm trying to trigger that thought of, I should probably go hang out with my kids. Where are my kids? What are my kids doing? Let me check on my kids. If you haven't spent time with them, like, because you got all this money and you got a big house, I feel like if I'm got all this money and a big house, I'm gonna have my kids a lot. All of them. It's just gonna be daycare. Like, I got all the kids. And
Daddy
it's like,
Jacob, that's hilarious.
yeah, nobody around him is tracking him. So it's toxicity on top of toxicity, because the people in your crew aren't holding you accountable for your actions, nor are maybe the mothers are by taking them to court. But it's just, you can't continue down this path and not realize that you're not just hurting, like, you're actually hurting your kids by not being around. It's a different type of trauma that you're giving them. Like, oh, I had a great life, but I don't really have a relationship with my dad. He provided for me through my mom and the courts, but he weren't really there.
Not
Like,
without a fight,
I
though.
can't
Not
break.
without a fight.
It's like I can't break and be like, yeah, Future's my daddy. I feel like I'm like Russell Wilson's my stepdaddy. Like, yes, the
Turn up,
boy
turn up, turn up.
is one of the greatest football players. He takes care of my mom. He has, like, I think it's fun. Like, I watch how he sits back and he lets Ciara be, herself, and he had the spotlight. And then the reverse is when he's playing football and his out there and Ciara's, cheering them on. I think that they found each other and they deserve each other. And I hope that everybody sits down and self-analyzes themselves and realizes what they hold in their situations, what part they play in or role they play in their situation, and what is toxic about them, and does everything in their power to better themselves. Because you know what they say, you aren't going to get what you deserve until you change where you are. Is that how it goes?
Something like that.
You get the
We get the gist. We definitely get the gist. And I kind of wanted to say, to continue on what you just said, like, do you think people look for stability after they've been in this toxic relationship? Because I feel like at some point, like you said, you do have to do some self-reflection and you have to see what role you played. But then it's like, okay, whether you intended to be in a toxic relationship or not, that could be the situation you were just in. And so they used the word stable, which I felt like was a little odd to say she's looking for stability, because I don't think she was in an unstable relationship with Future. I just feel like he wasn't in a true relationship with her. Like, I don't think it was
I
unstable.
feel like it was unstable because his, like, a misogynist, he's a womanizer, he's not the best part.
Yeah, then I guess it was unstable.
As
Yeah.
beautiful as he is, unfortunately, he is not at this point of his life, or that point of his life was not relationship. He was, I shouldn't say relationship material. He wasn't in a relationship mindset to be that real. I think he was put on such a high pedestal. His head was so big that he was just like, I'm the prize. And it's just like, no, we, like,
But you know what's interesting? They were actually engaged. Like, so that's what also makes this a little trippy, right? Back in, when you look back at their relationship, they were actually engaged prior to her getting pregnant. And so that's where it got really weird for me, because I'm like, and then he went on this really toxic trip where he was like, well, I called off the wedding and or I called off the engagement and and then he went on this like really, really big ego trip. And then it became like, oh, you're toxic.
Yeah, and I think, like, naturally after you go through situations like that, you're gonna have triggers. So you're gonna look for everything that person doesn't have. Like, I would look for, well, not me. After that situation, I'll be like, oh, that's how you act. Well, that's how he used to act. So, twing, twing, next. Oh, that's like, you just sit there and you're just like, nope, nope, nope. You act too much like that. I've already dealt with that type of situation or that type of person. Not doing again. Oh, you come home at whatever hour and you told me you're going to come home at 9 and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you didn't message me or call me and I'm here sitting up worried thinking that, yep, we're not doing that. Next. People actually remove themselves from being the next potential person. So to your question that you asked, I think it's natural for people to look for what they didn't have in the last failed relationship. So if the last relationship was toxic and way too much was happening, now you're going to look for what the next person will call as boring. When it's actually just stable and easy and
secure, which is what most people say there's a lot that women want this in relationships, but I feel like most people do want security in their relationships. It may look different depending on your gender, sure, but I feel like no one wants to be in a situation where they're unsure of what's happening with the person that they're supposed to be in a relationship with. Like that doesn't seem like the way people want to be in relationships. I mean, maybe someone wants that, but that just seems weird.
Maybe if you're like, oh, I'm just traveling the world and I don't want to take anything serious, so I'm just looking for a partner right now. But I'm also going to want you to communicate with me that this isn't a forever thing and act like it. Like, don't come 3 months into the relationship when you know you're leaving on the 4th month and be like, I love you, I'm in love with you, I can't believe I'm leaving you. You could have
Don't change the game. Don't change the game. Play the rules.
Because now I'm confused as to what's happening. Am I leaving with you because love and in love and wanting to be with you? Those are strong statements.
Very much so.
Very misleading statements if you're going to tell me and then dip.
Right. I want to come to this comment from Sean Smith. So he asks, does maturity come into play when people move out of a toxic relationship? Just a thought. I think absolutely.
I feel like people mature based on mature at a speed based on the experiences that they go through. So you can be sheltered and naive and ignorant until you experience something. Like people could be like, don't go, make sure you go around it because you're not going to actually make it if you try and jump over that hill. You're just like, you don't know me, I can handle it. And then you go to jump over the hill, you're like halfway through, like, oh crap, I'm not going to make it. We tried to warn you. So now you know, let me listen, let me move around. You're absolutely correct. So you move differently based off of the experiences. So I think naturally you're going to mature when you move out of a toxic relationship.
I also think it takes awareness though.
If you don't learn your lesson, then I think it changes from being immature to just being resorting to self-inflicted pain. Because
I think also it's awareness. I think it's also awareness because like sometimes I wouldn't say you don't know that you're in a toxic relationship, but sometimes you don't realize that that person was actually toxic. You might be trying to justify and trying to say, oh no, that's just like they just had a bad moment, whatever the case may be. But I think until someone comes self-aware that that's not something that they want to engage in a relationship, then they can start to move to a place of maturity. Because I feel like if you're not self-aware enough, that's why I don't think Future has kind of moved out of being a toxic person, because I don't think he's self-aware enough.
Because nobody's actually full on holding him accountable. They're just saying a few things, but if 1 or 2 people say it to me and then 50 people are just like, bruh, you're the boy, you're the girl, it's gonna be like, yeah, you know what, I did that, and then continue to showboat for everybody else.
It's also another thing too, like, because the people that are saying that he is toxic are not in his inner circle, so he doesn't care. And I think there's also enough people that validate his actions, and we use he as the collective figure for toxicity at this point in this conversation, but it's really all people that are toxic. If they're kind of finding validation from certain people that gives them enough fuel to keep going and being toxic, then I think until that one or small group of people that someone genuinely feels like, yo, when that person says it to me, it like hits their spirit, like their entire heart is like shattered, they'll keep doing it. So I feel like that's one of the reasons why it's kind of a cycle that keeps going. So until you find a corny person, a goofball, a square, you're probably going to continue to be in the situation where the person hurts you because they don't realize, they're not emotionally intelligent enough to realize that they're not doing great things in this relationship.
Yeah, coming back to when you said, like, you know, people don't know that they're in a toxic relationship. I actually saw a quote one day and it was just like, you don't realize that you're in an abusive relationship until you tell your story to somebody else. And I feel like that's when it triggers, because you think, oh yeah, this person did this or they did that, and then the looking at you and just like, that's bad, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you shouldn't allow that. And you realize, you're just like, oh my God, I didn't even realize. Or you're telling stories about like getting silent treatment and this, that, and the other. And they're just like, it sounds to me like you're in an emotionally abusive relationship. And the person's just like, huh. Because you think like, he's not hitting me. It's not physical abuse. So, like we had the conversation a few weeks ago. If it's not physical abuse, it doesn't really trigger that thought immediately until you actually sit down and analyze. And like you said, I don't think that Ciara obviously did it at some point, but I don't think Future has actually sat down and, you know, checked himself.
And who knows when he'll do that. Hopefully he does it soon, because he has a lot of children that are dependent on him to be a decent role model for them to kind of know what it's like to be a man or what it's like to date a man. So I definitely hope that anyone that kind of has or has been considered the toxic person in a relationship does take that time, because there is someone that's likely going to look up to you. And if they see your example as such, they will just continue that narrative, and it just be repetitive over and over again. And then we'll just continue to have many Futures running around the world, spewing toxicity out there that we don't want. We want to have a world that is full of love and light, like Ciara and Russell. On that note, Jacky and I are going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with our Feel Good Vibe of the day, which is Joke Time with Jacky. So make sure you stick around for that, because I need a laugh to get my morning started. I hope you do too. Jacky and I will be right back after this commercial break.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio, home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
Welcome back to Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jacky Lambert. And if you're just joining us earlier today, we talked about the fact that there's a drive-thru restaurant coming right here in the island of Bermuda. It's actually a bigger one than what you would have expected or may have seen previously on the island. So make sure you stick around to see when that, opens up, and they have the grand opening, because I feel like they're going to do something really, really big because they have enough space to do it. And we also... You hope it's free food, of course. Well, I won't say of course, but yes, I'm with you. I hope there's free food as well. We also talked about toxicity and stability in relationships for our Feel Good topic of the day. But for our Feel Good Vibe of the day, we are wrapping up with Joke Time with Jacky. If this is the first time you're watching us, Jacky has the corniest jokes, corny jokes for us. And, depending on how well she does, we either laugh or we look at her funny. But either way, it's a good time. So, Jacky, I hope you're ready to share with us some of your corny jokes, because I am ready to hear them.
Okay, you ready? Cool.
I am.
What kind of book did Frankenstein's monster like to read?
Frankenstein's monster like to read? I don't know.
One with a cemetery plot.
Cemetery plot. Go long, okay? Go long.
Did you hear about the English professor who went to jail?
The English professor who went to jail? No, but it's something corny.
She got a full sentence. Okay, I hope you get this last one because I died. Okay. An Englishman, a Frenchman, and a Spaniard. An Englishman, a Frenchman, a Spaniard, and a German were out for a walk when they stopped to watch a street performer who was excellent juggler. Right?
Juggling.
The juggler noticed that the four men had a bad view from where they stood in the crowd. So he climbed on a large wooden box and shouted, "Can you see me now?" "Yes, we see ya." They say yes in the language and it comes out as "yes, we see ya." People are funny. They are
fact that she had to make sure that we caught that it was because they said yes in each of their languages is hilarious.
This is what I was giggling at when I first came on the show. Like when
You are a riot.
and
Okay.
I was backstage.
I love that you love your jokes because it makes them even funnier. As always, Jackie and I hope that today's Feel Good Vibe of the Day has you ready to make it a great one. Thank you so much for watching and engaging with this episode of Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza's and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terry Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. We trust we'll see you tomorrow for more Feel Good conversations. Until the next episode, peace and have a good day, Bermuda.